Hello, my name is Russell Kirkman. I'm known to some, though, as the Stress Doctor. I'm the author of the book, Maybe It's Me, A Blueprint to Reducing Stress While Achieving Peace in Your Life. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it's not. It's called The Reverse Principle, and we'll talk about it in the next couple of blogs. But I want to first of all start off with saying thank you so much for those of you who purchased my book and sent the great comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I love all of you guys. Really, I do. I want to also thank those of you who suggested that I create this blog and encouraged me to do it. I know it's been 2 years and I've been dragging my feet, but I get it now. I understand where you're coming from. See, as a writer and an author, my hands were cuffed. You know, I had to intentionally avoid writing anything too deep, too technical, too mechanical, too scientific. So I had to write something more or less what I wanted to write, which was just a book that was easy reading, comprehensive, informative, with a twist of humor. And that's what I was able to write. But see, as a blogger, wow, I'll be able to get really deep, and you'll be able to get to understand me a little better, and we'll be able to engage. And I'm looking really forward to it. I'm excited about it. So this is the first of many. We're going to start from the beginning of the book to the end. This is what the blog is going to be about, primarily a continuation of the book. So from the very first page, which is the experience, which is on the blog, all the way to the last page, and that should take us well into the next year. So once again, I just want to say thank you so much for the encouragement and the suggestion. Now, a part of the blog also is to assist those of you who find yourself getting stuck in what I call modern day situations and issues. Getting stuck is the worst thing that can ever happen to you. So the blog's intention is to assist you in getting past those situations. The great Talib Kweli says life is but a beautiful struggle, and it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful struggle. And it's the struggle, though, that is as important as the good times. We can't and we mustn't try to avoid the struggles of life. The struggle is a part of the journey. It'd be like taking a roller coaster ride and only getting the ups and nice, even, straight fairways. Wouldn't be much of a ride. It's the ups and the downs, it's the twists and the turns, it's the loops that make the ride an enjoyable ride. A gut-wrenching ride, but that's an enjoyable ride. So we have to be able to take and embrace and appreciate the struggles too, the struggles of life, because therein lies the jewels, the treasures. That's where you need to go, and that's what you need to be able to appreciate, because they're going to come. But when you embrace them, then and only then do you see the growth and the development of yourself when you are faced with opposing forces. That's a part of the struggle. That's a part of the journey in this thing that we call life. Okay, well, let's continue, guys. I think it's very important, before I go any further, to make a disclaimer, and I have to say this because I think it's important that you guys, as my reader and my friends, understand that I was never inspired to write this book. No, I wasn't. I'm sorry, I wasn't. I was provoked to write this book. I had to write it. That's right. And I tell the whole story in the introduction of the book. And even though it's a true story, I intentionally made it funny for a few reasons. First and foremost, because it's longer than the typical introduction of a book. But secondly, I felt it was important for you guys to get a better understanding as to how all this came to be and why I'm sitting here in front of you now. But third, lastly, and probably even more importantly, I felt it was very important for you guys to see how the most painstaking, the scariest, horrific, and tragic experience of my life has now become the most joyful, enriching, fulfilling, peaceful, and loving experience of my life. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? But it's not. It's kind of like that Chinese proverb that says, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. I tend to like Larry King, the great television host, his explanation even better. He was being interviewed after his second or third bypass surgery when he made one of the most profound statements I've ever heard. To this day, it still resonates with me. He said in this interview that he didn't believe that one could truly appreciate this journey that we call life unless they've experienced death. And I gotta say, I truly understand what he meant by that. And that's why it is such a true statement. Because I can say without any fear of contradiction, until my own experience with stress, that I lack the mental capacity to grasp the gravity of this journey that we call life. I couldn't begin to get there in 100,000 years. I couldn't. It wasn't until I got a second chance at life that I began to understand, and I figured it out, that we are all placed on this earth with a purpose, a calling, they say. A calling. The old African proverb says that we can't be fired from the job that we came here to do. Like all of God's creatures and elements and agents placed on this earth, we all owe a debt to the universe to assist, maintain, and sustain the life of something or someone else, to enhance the life or the existence of something or someone else. That's why we're here. And as human beings, we are not exempt of this rule. We are not exempt of this law. So why are you here? What's your purpose? That's the human challenge. That's what we must figure out before we leave this earth. The great Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote a poem called The Call in the mid-1800s. I call him the first abolitionist. I love him. I think he's the greatest poet that ever walked this earth, or one of the greatest. He was speaking up for the oppressed back in a time where it wasn't popular to speak up for the oppressed, when it wasn't cute, nor was it politically correct to speak up for the oppressed. He was in a time when you could still be stoned to death or killed for tampering with the consciousness of a plantation owner. In this poem, he explains why it is he does, and he writes and he says what he says. It goes something like this: for every man, for every woman has a vocation, for this is the talent, for this is the call. It is in this direction that all space opens up onto him or her, silently inviting their faculties to tender endless exertion, But like a ship on a river, there's obstruction in every direction but one. But one. For it is in this direction that all obstruction is taken away, allowing them to serenely sweep into deepening channels of infinite sea. For every man, for every woman has a vocation. For this is the talent. For this is the call. So I want to end with that piece. And we're going to go into the next blog of the human challenge, the human race, and why and how it is that we got here. So as I end all of my pieces with, if we can laugh together and we can cry together, and we can sing together and go to war and die together, then why can't we live together? Let's live together in peace. Peace.